And we are back. I'm Nick England, joined by Matt Prosser, and we are here for the Utah Stingers taking on the Dallas Tornadoes. We just saw that last match go the distance, 15-13 in the fifth. Chicago Untouchables not quite able to find the win against the Texas Tyrants, but another exciting matchup. Matt, based on what you've seen from these two teams, what are you expecting here today?
Well, this should be a very good, evenly paired match for the second one of this Sunday morning. The Stingers have their full crew here, minus their backup setter, I believe, but a little thin in terms of reserves off the bench, but they played 2 days ago, so they should be fresh. Meanwhile, for the Tornadoes, played yesterday. It was a hard-fought game, so they may see and feel a little fatigue, but behind the efforts of Felix Chapman and Chike Opurum, they were very good offensively speaking yesterday, so hopefully the blocking defense of the Stingers can slow them down a little bit, but it should be a very good match.
Yeah, and we saw Stingers kind of fall apart a little bit in that first match against the Kraken, a little wavering. Now, the interesting thing, you mentioned setters. So they had Reed there, day number 1. He is not here today, so he will be replaced by an NVA name we've heard before, Michael Velatato, number 21. Now, Mike has set for teams before, such as LA Blaze, and before the OC Stunners were the Stunners, they were the Blizzard. And he set with that team before, so a very experienced setter, very easygoing guy that kind of just runs an offense that's easy to pair him into any team. However, he's never set any of these guys before.
Also a very athletic and offensively minded setter as well.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see him make his NVA return this season. So excited to see him. Keep an eye out there. Now on the side of the Dallas Tornadoes, we've talked about how much this team has kind of seemed to shore up exactly what was kind of a shortcomings last season. We saw some big additions last match, like you said. So definitely keep an eye on number 18, Felix Chapman, to carry a bunch of the offensive load. Alternatively, on the right side, number 5, we saw a bunch of power there as well. So really curious to see how this one unfolds. I don't even really have a guess yet. It's so early in the season.
Well, I'm very curious to see how the fatigue has been handled by the Tornadoes, specifically the setter, Sean Smith, to see if he is light on his toes like he was yesterday, or if that 4-match victory that they did get, 4-game victory that they did get in yesterday's match, kind of is carrying over in a hangover a little bit.
Yeah,
to them.
And he tweaked, I believe was his knee that we saw him tweak too there for a moment. We weren't sure how that would impact him.
I'm not sure if it was a knee or an ankle. I don't have the injury report right in front of me, but either way around it, hopefully he got some treatment, stretched, iced. I saw him icing both of his knees after the match yesterday. But the fire seems to be there, so they're looking forward to it.
Angel Rivera, number 8, coming off of an MVP season in the Puerto Rican League where he won, taking down Gianluca Grasso of the Tyrants team. So he saw some offensive prowess yesterday. Look forward to seeing that once again.
Well, very interesting to see for the Stingers, our starting lineup on that side. Middle blocker, Sean Dennis, Russell Holmes, opposite hitter, Jorge Mencia, and Michael Velatato, the setter.
Yep.
Outside hitters, what we expected to see, Novel Romero and Storm Tafunga.
Yes, sir.
Getting the start. So really just a big question mark for the Stinger side is how will the connection work with Michael Velatato in the setter position today? Last time Michael played, I believe, was early in 2021.
Yeah, I believe so.
LA Blaze. And he was the starting setter for that group before stepping away for a little while.
Yep.
To focus on some things outside of volleyball. And it's good to see him back.
Similar story, we saw Jordan Wally last night from the Matadors. They were both on that same squad around the same time, and both just kind of figuring out what was next for them. But like you said, seeing them return, awesome.
Just a quick fun fact, Nick, for you. Your broadcast partner here did have the opportunity to coach Michael Velatato in high school at Redondo Union. And also Russell Holmes back in the day when he was playing club volleyball. So,
dang, got quite the it's quite the list. And I believe also Ryan Schickling, if I'm not mistaken, from the Las Vegas Ramblers.
I was saving that until tonight's match since that's when the Ramblers.
I'm just giving everyone a little teaser. So what you're telling me is that you've coached some of the best NVA talent around. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is sort of,
that's the gist
what
of it.
I am trying to say.
Gotcha. Well, here we're about to get into it. Chandler Ball lays out for the first ball of the match. Sean Dennis in transition is dug up. And number 15, Javier Guerrero, finds the kill out of the pipe. He's doing a nice job yesterday before being subbed out. We saw their third outside, Luis Vasquez, coming in as a replacement. Today we actually don't see Sean Smith at the helm. Instead, we're seeing Andres Quinones. Big swing there on the outside. Storm buries that one, and we're at 1-1. Bellatado to jump serve. Taken by Chapman. And Chapman rips it right back down the line at Bellatado. There was only one option there for Quinones to set, and he found Chapman.
We're going to say Chapman's name a lot in this match. Just like we said yesterday, he gets a lot of the offensive opportunities for the Tornadoes. And he's doing a good job being terminal from the right side and the left side when he's attacking.
Nice serve. Baugh in system. Dennis swings, dug by Rivera. Quinones goes to Chapman. Double block covered. Quinones now to Sorowski. Tipped over, dug by Bellatado. Storm goes high hands with Chandler Baugh taking the second ball. And in the last year, we saw Chandler Baugh was not starting too much behind Kai Duquim last year. Getting the start once again. He had an impressive 2020 Utah event. Plays a ton of outdoor volleyball, so he's a very well-rounded player. Excited to see him make his return in the blue jersey. Schuldenberg with a good pass. Chike Opurum squeaks that through the net.
It was a unique approach that time from Chike Opurum, kind of doing a little bit of a delay, and then coming in for a quick front one that time.
Yeah, we talked about his speed on the approach yesterday. He runs his middle attack a little bit slower than some of the other middles, but does a very good job of seeing the block in front of him, scores efficiently. And so does the 6'11", number 14, Sean Dennis, on a one-year loan from the Las Vegas Ramblers to the Utah Stingers.
Well, so far, Bellatado, that's the third set to Sean Dennis in this set alone. I know we just started, but Bellatado trying to activate their middle attacks early and often here.
Dennis launches that one long and deep. You talk about having options. Now we see he's got Russell Holmes, formerly with Team USA, an Olympian who has a wealth of experience. Certainly another good option for him to utilize in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. The Stingers' offense is very well-rounded and loaded in every position. It's just whether or not they can find the connection there with Michael Bellatado today.
Bellatado takes a stab, unable to corral Felix Chapman's pipe swing back in. Nice connection. There was a little miss there between Mencia on the right side and Bellatado there that yielded a free ball. Chapman serves short.
You know, one thing we don't talk a lot about, Nick, is how important the toss is with the jump serve.
Yeah.
Right? You can tell that time Felix kind of tossed that ball over his left shoulder, his non-hitting shoulder. That resulting in being in sort of an off-balance attack with that serve, finding the net, and then you can see as he landed, sort of falling to that left side. Really, you know, the jump serve toss is one of the most unspoken, important aspects of the server's game. Really have to keep that in the right position and then be balanced as you're attacking that jump serve.
Certainly do. It's a really good insight, and that's, you know, it is not talked about enough for how much we harp on the missed serves, so something we can keep an eye on here. And Oval Romero there tries to find a tip over the top of Sorowski and unable to keep it in the court. Opurum serving once again. And that time a lot of power getting used, and Angel Rivera left hand there gets tooled across the court. Kill for Romero.
Well, the Stingers find themselves down by 2. Offensively, they haven't been as effective as they would like to be right out of the gates. Fortunately, we do know that the Stingers, with their professionalism, will figure it out and find their way offensively as they do right there with Russell Holmes out of the middle.
You know, as Russ has continued getting older, sometimes that little bit of pop is not quite there and compared to his younger days, but something that is just ridiculously impressive.
You know, I don't like to use the word older or younger. I like to use the
more
word
experienced. Yeah.
Nick, okay.
His court vision has continued improving, and his ability not only to take a big swing there, but find the tips and kills. It's just impressive. So keep an eye on him. He is still an absolute pleasure to watch. Storm rolling over the top, and you're seeing the veteranship. How about that? Do we like veteranship?
That's a great one.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, another alternative. So we see the veteranship coming through there for the Utah Stingers. The roll shots, the tips, when they don't find that set connection they want, or there's a big block in the right spot, just chiseling around it and do a good job.
Very oftenly used volleyball IQ.
Schuldenberg. Rivera tips over the top. Okay, I've got to take a moment here to talk about number 12 in silver. Sam Schuldenberg was picked up out of Loyola University, and if I'm not mistaken, he was a college club player, not even on the D1 team there. And he's just been playing outdoor ball for the last 3 years. Found out about an opportunity to play and got added to the team. He has been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Well, statistically speaking, he's been the best passer in the NVA through this weekend so far. And that's something to speak on for sure right there as your debut in the league.
Impressive for sure. He's got some pretty good competition on that list. Quinones looks for the dump, picked up by Holmes. Free ball coming over, taken by Schuldenberg. A tip by Rivera, and Russ Holmes goes down and unable to pick it up. 2 team owners on the court at the same time between setter number 11, Quinones, and number 12 for the Swarm, Russ Holmes. Guerrero goes back for another serve, sends this one long. Vellatata with an aggressive serve, gets the overpass. Two-handed throwdown by Sean Dennis. Schuldenberg unable to handle that. High set, Sorowski. Dug by Romero. Vellatata gets a bounce off the ceiling, but put over by Dennis. Quinones goes back, and Rivera jams that one down through the block of Sean Dennis. Angel Rivera gets the ace. A massive jump serve, and the pressure continues. A 1-point lead for the Dallas Tornadoes.
Angel Rivera yesterday. He was watching from the sideline throughout the match, but obviously his team using his contributions now from the inland with that service ace and being an offensive weapon through the front row as well.
That one's going to go wide. Mincy dances out of the way. Storm just obliterating that serve. And an even bigger block. The sure-handedness of Mencia and Dennis get it done.
Well, that's a huge stuff down against Felix Chapman on the left side. Mencia lining up nicely, getting his hands right in front of his hitting shoulder. Chapman tried to turn it down the line, but Mencia got him that time.
Storm misses on the second serve. Man, he puts so much pressure in when he's hitting those serves.
Yeah, Storm is capable of going on some big service runs throughout a match. So Tornadoes can breathe a sigh of relief after that service error.
It's going to be a back row attack. Velitato trying to come out and save that. Having a quick chat, trying to figure that out. Tight pass there from Chandler Baugh. Put Velitato in a difficult position, and we're back underway after some discussion to figure out some rule clarifications. Tight pass here, an attempted wipe, but Sarowski there to just seal that ball off.
Yeah, the Tornadoes with a 2-point advantage here. Stingers trying to find some continuity in their passing right now. They've been off the net, too tight, hasn't really been right in the sweet spot where Velitato could put up a good hittable ball.
Hand pass by Romero. Sharp cross court cut there by Mencia, unable to be dug by Quinones. I just spent a whole match saying the name of Gabo Quinones, and now we have his brother, number 11, Andres Quinones, as the setter for this team. So both Texas teams being led today by the Quinones brothers. High back set that Chapman has to manage a swing. Opportunity here from the Stingers. And Chike Opurum all by himself shuts that one down.
Give Chike Opurum a solo block that time. Romero having to jump off of 1 foot. A little bit of an out-of-system play, but Chike there to stuff it down and get the point.
He's really been you know, he's someone that contributes periodically throughout the middle offensively, but defensively, he's just been a steady contributor for this team. And Felix Chapman, I would never describe his contributions as steady, more like explosive and expected. Big ace for him. We're going to take a quick technical break here at 16-13. We'll be right back. All right, and we're getting back into it here after that short technical timeout. I gotta say, I wasn't sure that we would see Dallas Tornadoes be able to maintain the same pressure we saw in a 3-0 win against the Kraken yesterday, but it seemed like they're ready to come out and compete once again.
Yeah, you're totally right, Nick. I couldn't agree with you more. They've started this match off in set number 1 with some big service pressure, and has not allowed the Stingers to get into any kind of rhythm.
Schuldenberg does a phenomenal job of a little double pump, makes a full defensive move, leans back, and is sure not to touch that swing. The service pressure from Chapman continues. Baugh dimes the pass, and Mincy takes a swing, covered up. Opurum all the way to the outside, and that serve goes long. Unfortunately, Sarowski nets there, and that's a little bit of a bailout for the Stingers as they take a sigh of relief.
Yeah, that's a huge bailout for the Stingers. They needed that one. Nearly down by 5. Instead, it's only a 3-point deficit that they find themselves in, but that net violation really helping out the Stingers that time.
Mincy with a great jump serve, passed by Chapman. Guerrero covered, and I think this one's got to go over. Yep. That ball came down into Guerrero for the first touch. Oporum got the second in a tough angle, unable to be sent over by Schuldenberg there.
Well, like you said, Nick, earlier, this is the one issue for the Tornadoes when the pass isn't perfect. Chike Oporum is a little bit out of the offense system altogether, and which really only leaves 2 hitters and a back row attacker, so the Stingers are able to focus on their block and defense a little bit more.
A chop deep by Guerrero, picked up by Baugh. Now Storm on the Bick attack, and only Oporum trying to shut that one down means the back row is wide open.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a well-played, well-run play that time in transition by Storm. Velitato able to make that connection to his hitter out of the back row on that Bick attack.
Mincy goes short on this one, and Matt, I want to talk really quick about how impressed I am by Velitato's willingness to run the middle of the court, whether it be his front row middles or the pipe. That's some of the stuff that we've talked about, how hard it is to develop that connection. Comes in without any rapport with any of these hitters, and he is so willing to run it. And there we see it once again, a dig by Oporum. But there's Velitato's offensive prowess that we talked about, but stopped. Angel Rivera was ready for it. And the scrap from the Tornadoes. We saw Oporum get a critical dig last night at the end of the 3rd set against the Kraken.
Right.
Now does it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have been speaking to Opurum's block and defense. He can come up with an occasional dig. Anytime his serve goes into the net, unfortunately. But, yeah, he's one of the better digging middle blockers we've seen throughout event number 1 here. But to go back to your earlier point on Michael Velitato, setting the middle, establishing the offense through the middle of the court, whether it's front row or back row. You've got Storm hitting the Bick, and when you have Russell and Sean Dennis in the middle, you've got to be able to establish that connection too.
Storm goes sharp angle, but a net by Sorowski, who just took out some of the bench and was hustling to make his way back, but unable to do so. There was just not enough control with the speed he was traveling.
You got to applaud the effort by Sorowski, the right side hitter now. He's in the front row. He ran off the court to keep that ball in play and then hustled to get back to block, but his momentum just carrying him into the net on that block.
Serve goes long for Romero. That's a 2-point lead as the Dallas Tornadoes are the first one to 20.
Stingers just can't find that rhythm and pressure from the inline. They score a point and they give it right back on that service error. So really got to tighten up their service game here.
Sorowski bounces it off the tape, taken by Holmes. D-ball to Mincy, chip down the line. And Rivera in transition. The Quinones connection to number 8. Angel Rivera is impeccable.
Quinones showing a great connection to his middle blocker there as well. Game within the game continues to develop for both sides.
Sorowski with the gator. Sets to Chapman, and Quinones is going to send this one deep. Romero is ready for it, and now it's Storm's turn, and Storm swings long. Storm has had a couple swings that go long that have been bailed out by nets. But a challenge is being issued by the Stingers, and Andres Quinones' response was a confident no touch. So unless Angel Rivera got it, it seems as though nothing's going to happen here to overturn that call, but we will see.
Yeah, we'll see here from our video review system. Stingers challenging that there was in fact a touch on the block. So we'll go upstairs to the challenge booth for some clarification here. Tornadoes blockers pretty adamant that they did not touch it. So we'll see here.
Time will tell. Stingers indicating seems to find one. Now, a quick reminder, there must be irrefutable evidence that overturns whatever call was made. Bear with us here, this one was close. We're getting an official ruling issued up top by our head judge, Mike Mon. Want to make sure that we get full advantage of the challenge system here. If you're joining us, once again, I am Nick England, joined by Matt Prosser, our third man on the mic, Noah Chast. We've been bringing you NVA volleyball here all weekend long. This is the Dallas Tornadoes, Utah Stingers. We're in the middle of the first set with a score at 22-18 prior to this challenge.
And Nick and Matt, as you can hear, this is one of those replays where it's not really conclusive either way. Both teams thinking they're seeing the touch or not touch. You can see them watching the replay right now on the floor. It's, like you said, has to be inconclusive, so we'll see what they come down with. But both teams think they're in the right.
And if both teams think they're in the right, this will likely stay for the Dallas Tornadoes. But looks like we're getting an official ruling up top. Point stays with the Dallas Tornadoes, meaning they cannot overturn. Great work by our official team. Always awesome to see how that system gets used here. And it's time to get back into the action. Sarowski still on the back line. Means front row hands for the Dallas Tornadoes. Curious to see if Quinones thinks a dump is in his rapport. Russ Holmes dug with one-handed scoop, and there it is, the dump in true fashion.
Wow, Nick, you couldn't have called that one any better. Felix Chapman with a one-handed stab dig, and you're right, the setter dump back to the corner. Using all the court for that one.
Well, that was a fantastic stop there. Russ Holmes going into the timeout, calling Felix Chapman out and asking him, come on, man, what's going on?
Too easy, he says. A one-handed dig. Hit it a little bit harder next time, Russ.
Love to see those stabs come out. Quick move, and Dallas Tornadoes take a commanding 5-point lead.
Yeah, especially here at the business end of set number one, 23-18. Stingers really up against the wall now to try to equalize this set, or else they're going to find themselves down, losing this first set here in what we expected to see a little bit of a closer match.
But, I mean, traditionally, Stingers have been a team that kind of wakes up, move a little slow. So if you ever beat them, the story of 2021 that I pitched over and over is if you were going to beat them, you had to beat them in the first and second sets so that you could beat them later. Now, again, they don't have Langlois anymore, some of that veteranship, and we'll see what the impact is on the team.
So you're saying that they're slow starters?
Very much so, yeah.
Anything in particular you can put that on? Is it their style of play or their veteranship, or?
I think they're not an overly aggressive serving team, so they're kind of they don't rely on that explosive nature that some of the other teams are willing to roll the dice on. So they rely on a consistent offense, and sometimes just getting those pieces, maybe it's the pass, stuff like that established, getting a feel for how the other hitters swing and start getting their block developed. And I think it takes a little bit of time for them, but I wouldn't worry too much. Russ Holmes finds a dig now, and Velitato goes outside. Storm dug by Schuldenberg. And Chapman reaches and cuts it back in a truly spectacular back row swing. Russ Holmes unable to find the defensive stop there.
Yeah, Chapman really attacking well from every position on the court. That time out of the back row, giving his side their first opportunity for set point.
The amount of guys yelling, reach, 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 as Chapman had to keep pushing himself forward there. It's quite deafening. It was a very clear message for their guy, but he kept his feet clean, and that serve goes long. Now Mike Velitato facing 4 set points to get through. Chapman with a windmill. Angel Rivera gonna double that ball. A little bit of miscommunication between him and Quinones. Quinones was there and ready to take that.
Now, fortunately for the Tornadoes, they have a little bit of a breathing room here. Angel Rivera, get out of the way, sir. You're a middle blocker, not a setter. Let your setter take the second ball.
Bellatata finds Chapman, and Quinones goes to Rivera, but a dig means that Mincy has to set it over. Second attempt to the middle. Yep, Rivera doesn't need more than 2 chances. Quinones and Rivera's connection is very sound.
Well, much better than who wants to take the second ball. When Quinones does set it, Rivera gets up and is available, and he should do that a little bit more often. But Tornadoes winning set number 1.
Yeah, we'll be right back into the second set. Stay tuned.
OSIM.
All right, and we're coming back into it here. Dallas Tornadoes just took down the Utah Stingers 25-21, and that's going to be Stingers got to find a way to answer back here.
Yeah, they do. You know, lacking a little bit of hitting continuity. They only hit 37% in set number 1, so that number needs to go up. It's not a terrible hitting percentage, but when the Tornadoes hit at a 50% mark, it's going to be tough to keep up with that. However, Stingers also only 2 blocks in that one, and Tornadoes really charging the way with 5 on the block and defense side. So Stingers got to find themselves a little bit, like you said, maybe just a little bit of a slow start, but also trying to find their offensive continuity through set number 1 as well.
Certainly the case. To take a quick look at the stats here, when we break down the serve and pass game, which is usually a great indicator of what's going on, we see 6 errors on the side of the Tornadoes with 2 aces and just 4 errors on the Stingers. So the plus minus there is essentially the exact same. However, both of these teams are struggling to find a solid serve receive number. The Stingers doing a bit better at a 68% positive reception rate than the Tornadoes at 47. We'd like to see both those teams right around 70%. That's what tells you when they're really in system. So Tornadoes winning that tells you that they're kind of winning the out-of-system swing battle. We'll see if that cleans up here in the second set. That swing goes through the antenna, goes a little bit outside. Chapman has a discussion, but
that was pretty clear that the attack went into the antenna first, not off the block that time from Chapman.
Another pass by Schuldenberg, and there's the dump once again. One-handed set outside from Dennis, and Storm jams that one over. Surowski on the D-ball. Now Mincy tips over on the right, pancaked by Schuldenberg, and Chapman ends the rally. Unfortunately, it's a swing wide, and that's going to be for the Stingers. Tornadoes having a discussion if they think that they saw a touch. They did, in fact, think that they saw a touch, and there's going to be a challenge.
No touch indicated from either line's judge.
Yep.
However, the Tornadoes feel as if there was. Jorge Mencia blocking that time with Sean Dennis for the Stinger side, so they're both shaking their head that they didn't touch it. We'll go up to the booth for some confirmations, Nick.
All right, well, while that's getting underway, we currently have a 2-0 lead for the Stingers. Feels like that steady nature kind of settling in a little bit more, putting the pressure back on the Dallas Tornadoes to really find their way and earn the points. Just a reminder for anyone that hasn't seen the NVA challenge system before, the way this is structured is there are 3 challenges per team for the first 4 sets total. If you get the challenge correct, then you're able to keep your challenge and use it again as you like. Once you get to the 5th set, regardless of how many challenges you have remaining, only one will be usable, or you're awarded one if you're out. It is just one going forward. It follows the same rules. If you get it right, you keep it. If not, you lose it. So always a little bit of game management, because you've got to think down the road, and you always talk about so accurately, you know, maybe this challenge isn't worth it. At 2-0, there is so much time to really make up for this point.
Yeah,
when it's 2020, you want to be able to challenge.
Exactly. If he was to lose this challenge, you know, you don't get it back, and it's for what? It's 2-0 in set number 2, and you're winning the match after winning set number 1. So for me, if I'm coaching, I'm going to say, you know what, that's fine, just reset, let's find our rhythm, because really what this does is it takes time away from the game, and there's a little bit of loss of momentum on both sides, because it's almost an extended timeout, really.
Yeah, and after you have the set break between 1 and 2, if you're the Dallas Tornadoes, you want to be on the court. You want to ride that energy. You just won by 4.
Just keep playing, move on to the next point, and get the side out. Get back to business here, but now everyone's standing around watching the instant replay system, trying to see whether or not there was a touch off the block for it to be just a 1-to-1 tie. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, what's really going to feel bad is if this is judged as a no-touch, to lose a challenge at 2-0 is just, from the challenge side, feels a little inexcusable.
Agreed.
I don't think we've ever been able to talk about the coaching aspect of the game so in-depth, but here it is.
You know, it's something to discuss and try to look into a little bit, but coaches seem to think that Tornado's going to get this one, and they get it. So that one took a little extra time, but
Mencia owns it. He was waiting for the call.
Tornadoes
tells the ref,
yep. Yeah. Mencia trying to keep that poker face, you know, going. But that's also one thing that Mencia could have just admitted that he touched it, and you know, we could have avoided that entire sort of pause in that set right there.
He just wanted to put the challenge system to the test, passes the test, and we're back underway. And then followed up by a missed serve.
And you can't even say the ball never lies anymore because the challenge system. So service error from the Tornadoes. Back to 2-1 now. This is Storm serving.
Set outside very high, but Chapman able to corral that one back in. Quick set to Storm, tipped over the top and picked up by Quinones. Schuldenberg throws it back. Chapman against two, and Mencia gets used as that's a point for Chapman.
Well, the block of Mencia has been a bit of a liability for the Stingers. He's in the right position with his body, but his hands just not directing the ball back to the middle of the court, and it goes out of bounds off the block.
Baugh has to kind of throw that one towards the neck, and now Mincy tips over the top, picked up by Schuldenberg, and Chike Oporum on the ground, goes deep. Backside to Mincy, swings and beats the block of Oporum, who's a little late to the pin. Sean Dennis is someone that is a very aggressive server, uses all of that 6'11" height, and we'll see if he's able to generate a little advantage for the Stingers here now. Oporum swings and blocked by Russ Holmes. The steady hands of the smooth operator in the middle, number 12, Russ Holmes, getting it done.
Well, the veteran middle blocker that time, patiently waiting, reading the setter and his direction into the middle, and Holmes getting his hands over quickly for that block.
Romero high roll. Tip over, and once again, Velotado out. Means Russ Holmes takes hands. Mincy swings wide. And now a touch is being challenged for the Stingers. There's a discussion. There's no discussion right now that the Stingers are challenging. What the discussion is what are they choosing
Which
to
part
challenge?
of the play are they choosing to challenge, right?
Mincy was certain he got a touch.
Right, so a little confusion, right? The line judge on the Stinger side called the ball out, right? Meaning that it went outside the sideline. However, the other line judge called it in on the Tornadoes side. No touch was indicated from either official on the floor. So the Stingers are challenging that the ball is in after an out call.
This will be an interesting one. The line touches are typically much easier to tell. We've got a look right here. That looks like that's going to be in for sure based on the screen that I'm looking at with Matt right now.
And guys, yeah, the bench erupted thinking there was the touch, but the players in the court said, no, that ball is in the court. Challenged where the ball was in or out.
Well, it's not on the floor yet from our device and screen that we're looking at. The ball hovering right on the line, but we need some irrefutable evidence that it is, in fact, in contact with the sideline.
And it seems that they have reached a conclusion. Call is about to be indicated, and that is in fact in. Teams are being quite accurate right now with their challenge calls so far. Chapman rolls over the top, and the only defensive move made was everyone yelling, go.
You
and
go,
fact,
I go, nobody
goes.
Mencia admitting that he should have played that ball as the off blocker. One of those situations where there's no libero on the floor. However, that ball falling in front of three Stingers players, a little frustration on their side.
Ooh, Chapman gets a hold of that one. Velotado pulls it back, though. Free ball opportunity for the Tornadoes, and they go to Chapman on the pipe, and he squeaks it through the triple block of Mincy, Holmes, and Romero.
Stingers are in a little bit of trouble. They really have not been able to find that rhythm offensively that we've been talking about, Nick. And the Tornadoes applying pressure from the inline has been a recipe for success for the team from Dallas.
Even more, Velitato lays it up for Mency and a net or the kill off of Chapman. Take your pick. Either way, that's a point for the Swarm. 6-4 now, 2-point lead means Mencia is going to go back to hit a jump serve, bringing Mike Velitato front row. Keep an eye, once again, both setters front row love to get involved in the offense. Sorowski covered by Chapman and a roll shot by Guerrero deep. Romero tipped over the top, picked up with a pancake, and another opportunity for the Stingers. Russ Holmes in that opportunity with an exclamation point and takes that one hard into the angle.
Really like seeing Velitato feeding the middles in transition. That pass was up to the net, get him involved offensively. There's still a little bit of a misconnection between Velitato and his wing hitters and spikers, so get that play over with, go through the middle and score the quick point.
Quinones goes back. Sorowski takes a roll shot, picked up by Bao. Backside now to Mency. Dug with a little gator by Chapman, and he then finds the swing. Great job in transition from the big man, number 18.
Chapman just so explosive. He only got a step close on his approach on that one and able to elevate and absolutely hammer that ball in transition out of the back row.
Opurum serves short to Holmes, and Romero is touched by Opurum on the dig there, but no luck bringing it back. Nice kill there for the outside on Stingers. Stingers now extend their lead to 3. They're starting to settle in a little bit more, and even when the connection may not quite be there, they're doing a nice job of extending the rally and using their experienced block to slow the ball back down.
And they're also applying pressure from the service line as well.
Say that one again, Matt. That was a great serve in a timely manner. Big ace there for number 15, Inovo Romero.
Something that the Stingers were missing in set number 1 was pressure from the service line. So far in set number 2, they've been able to find some of that. Service aces always help.
Good pass from Chapman, and Rivera runs a 3-ball. Nice set from Quinones. It's pretty fun to see both of these setters have such a good connection with the middle and establishing them well.
Well, that was a great set from Quinones. He was about 12 feet off the net, able to throw it in there to Angel Rivera on that quick attack.
Sorowski now. Fought off well by the Stingers, but a free ball comes over from Chandler Bao. Tip over the top. That's up once again, or not called down, but it looked down to me, so either
My
way.
angle would concur, Nick,
Yeah.
that ball was in fact down. Tornadoes got the point, so. Tempo of set number 2 here, a little slow after a couple of challenges. Kind of surprised it's only 7 serving 9, but Sorowski's serve goes into the net, nearly under it. And an easy point scored by the Stingers that time. This is Russell Holmes getting ready to serve.
Loves his float serve. Oh, just kisses the net on the way by, battled with by Guerrero. Felix Chapman, once again, the productivity out of the pipe is unparalleled for the Dallas Tornadoes. I'm curious to see Storm Fangata Tafunga over on the side of the Stingers is one of the best pipe attackers in the league. Curious to see if a connection gets established there with Mike Velitato. That's one of those things. Leo Durkin had a wealth of experience setting Storm, so that is definitely lost this year without Durkin at the helm. Another middle swing. Sean Dennis turns and opens that one up to zone 1 for a big kill for the big man, number 14.
Yeah, did a really nice job of being up early. Velotado, so athletic, up in the air as well. A nice jump set to his big middle attacker that time.
Velotado with a float. And now Chapman goes hard angle. That's a big 4-4 swing. That wasn't physical.
Big, it was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an absolute hammer from Chapman that time. And Sia chased him a little too far wide and just offered up a huge alley for him to attack through, and Chapman took full advantage of it.
Rivera tries to find that back line for another ace, but sends this one long and an easy call for our line judge. Storm now back to serve. Thunders the ball, gets the overpass, and Romero finishes off the work that Storm started. A little 1-2 punch from the left side of Utah Stingers. And that's going to earn them a timeout spent by the Dallas Tornadoes. Matt, I think this timeout was a very much needed one. We're at 13-9, a 4-point lead. And this is kind of what we talked about, where sometimes the Stingers a little bit slow to get it all rolling, but they're finding their mojo right now.
Yeah, mojo for sure, Nick. It's a really nice response from the Stingers after losing set number 1 and kind of a 5-point deficit. So you do like to see that if you're a fan of the Stingers. However, the Tornadoes, they are able to get right back into this. We've seen what they can do from the inline and offensively speaking. So good work by both sides. I do like that timeout taken by the Tornadoes to talk about it, try to slow down the momentum, get a side out. However, Storm got to Tufunga getting ready to serve once again, one of the stronger servers for the Stingers.
Big serve gets another overpass. And another swing for the big man, and Sean Dennis turns that back, goes over the top of the block. Man, Mike Velotado is clearly a firm believer in a middle-first offense.
Absolutely, establish it, run it, and if they can't stop him, keep setting him. Meanwhile, for the Tornadoes, they might want to consider just commit blocking on the middles here to try to slow him down.
A missed serve from Storm, but I think that's more than acceptable after the serving run he had there. Got the team multiple overpasses and essentially free points.
Well, Storm always a dangerous server from the inline.
Andres Quinones targeting Storm. Set outside. Triple block, gets a nice touch. Ball now looking for a recycle, but a tight ball thrown back. Was that Soroski or Oporum? Couldn't tell, but Dallas Tornadoes take it all the same.
Hard to tell from our angle, but that set in transition just drifting a little bit too tight, not giving their hitter really a chance to take a good swing at that one.
Quinones once again, but a nice pass by Storm, set outside, swung off the hands of that block. That was the set that Romero has been waiting for on a great tempo all the way to the pin. Lets him really use all that experience, see the block, and use it just the way he wants. Dennis gets the overpass. Oh no! Quinones gets a back row attack called because he jumped there and that ball came over the net. Very unique way that played out. Almost not an issue for Tornadoes, but broke the plane of the net.
Well, Sean Dennis, credit to him. His serving has been strong so far in this match, going on some service runs himself.
Set goes back, and there's the sharp angle. Felix does it on the left, does it on the right, does it whenever he wants. But it feels like right now Felix Chapman is the majority of the offensive pressure for Dallas Tornadoes. Some of the other guys are going to need to step up and help contribute here.
Yeah, you're right, Nick. However, the off blocker for the Stingers has to come off the net and be ready to play some defense when Chapman is attacking.
Another big serve. Now he gets these overpass. Schuldenberg takes first ball, and a pipe attack. That one is too low.
A huge break for the Stingers that time. Really, Tornadoes had the full advantage, but yeah, that set in transition too low for Chapman. When a guy flies like that, set the ball up high for him and let him go get it.
Short float from Mency. Backside, and Sorowski goes high line, squeaks it through the block. Oporum been putting together some nice 2 and 3 serve runs. Good cross court, gets a tight pass, goes to Angel. Or Inoval, apologies, and Inoval just crushes that line.
Hammering that line, denting the floor that time. Wow, one blocker in front of him. Inoval turning it down the line and just unloading on it.
Tries to take that same energy and momentum back to the service line. Unfortunately, gets a little too much on that one. Serve goes long. Like we said yesterday, I'd always rather see the jump serve go long than in the net, so. Sorowski now. Serves short in the net.
Well, what the Tornadoes had in momentum in set number 1, it has completely evaporated. And right now, the Stingers clearly in control of set number 2.
Definitely the case. Russ Holmes now see if he can get a little something going with that jump serve. Great pass by Guerrero. There's the dump. Well seen by Quinones.
Quinones choosing to throw the dump down against the 6'11" Sean Dennis. Getting it past the blockers and down in front of Romero's defense that time.
Vasquez with a great swing. Sean Dennis comes in high. Mike Velitato doing a fantastic job of getting that ball all the way to Sean Dennis's hitting window. Sometimes you see the setters just leave it low, and it doesn't matter how tall you are if the ball doesn't get there. But Mike doing a great job for Dennis. Oh, a little 1-2 punch. Angel Rivera and Felix Chapman on the exact same tempo. Gets the block a little discombobulated there as Chapman cuts that down the line off the leg of Mike Velitato. Huge point for the Dallas Tornadoes.
Huge point. They needed it. Keeping it within striking distance, but got to get some points from the inline here.
Still down by 4, like you said. Not a good spot to be in at 20-16, or 16 serving 20 in this case. Mincy tips over the top, rolls across the net, picked up. Chapman swings on 2. Chapman destroys the ball on 2. Heads up play from number 18 on the outside. A nice break there for Dallas Tornadoes.
Now Rivera serving again, down by 3, trying to mount a little bit of a comeback here.
Oh, missed serve there. Tough timing for Rivero to miss that one. But as a guy that has a big aggressive jump serve, Tornadoes are still relying on him, so he's got to go back and do his best. Storm now to create more pressure for the Stingers. That set was exceptionally aggressive. And Chapman tried to use every bit of his verticality and size to catch that one, but not able to do so.
Just out of the reach that time. Almost over the antenna. So.
Yeah. It's hard to fathom how high you got to set that ball for Felix Chapman not to be able to get to it, but unable to do so all the same, and that's going to be a timeout taken here at 22-17. All right, what's your takeaway, Matt? We talk about, always the tools or the path it's going to take to win. Does it feel like the Stingers have been making those needed adjustments? Is it that the Tornadoes cooled off? What's your takeaway?
Well, my first takeaway is we all better get comfortable because this could very well go 5 sets. And I think we've seen a great response from the Stingers, really from the inline. Okay, they've made their serves. Romero, Mencia, they're hitting their serves that they were missing in set number 1. And for the Tornadoes side, we've seen their offense cool down and lose that connection that was so effective for them in that opening set of this match.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head with that. We've seen Storm, Mency, Inovel, Dennis just applying relentless pressure. But that's a great timeout. That's what you want to see, and the coach involved, Ivan Andujar over there getting involved with a nice timeout. There is still time for Dallas Tornadoes to catch up here, but they really need a little bit of a run to start right now. Maybe they're able to do so on the back of Quinones.
You're 2 for 2, Nick, on the shout-outs to the servers, resulting in service errors.
They can take that up with me later. I'll take the blame. And so am I supposed to say Sean Dennis here to miss, and he'll crush another one in, or how does that go? I don't know the rules to this game. Yeah.
Go either way. In to win.
All right, Felix, your turn. We'll all come back and watch this together later. Nice jump serve, but a perfect pass. Russ Holmes, a quick punch turn going back across court. Unable to be dug.
Quinones couldn't get his hand out fast enough while finding his arm on the way out of bounds. So a bit lucky there for the Stingers.
Schuldenberg with a good pass outside. And that's a huge block from Mike Velazzato. We talked about the physicality, getting it done there. Squares up nicely, gives Russ Holmes a great place to close to, and the rest of the Stingers lineup is stoked. But we have a challenge coming through. Did you see what was being challenged there?
They're challenging a net violation on that block.
Okay.
So, pardon me, they're challenging a service line violation.
Oh, well, then I can tell you most assuredly this is going to fail because I saw that firsthand. There are 2 lines close to each other, a blue and a black. There was no foot fault. I made a mental note as this came across. So this is going to go against the challenge there. Point for Stingers. If you asked me on the net, I had no idea. This one, very confident on.
You sound very confident on it, Nick. A bit of a unique challenge here to end set number 2. Foot fault violation.
Yeah, I don't.
Bit of a prayer.
Yeah, there you go. Quick decision. No surprise there. And that's going to end it. So that's going to mean that the Dallas Tornadoes have burned one of their challenges because they got 1 correct. So I think they have 2 left, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, we're going to be right back. We're going to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back here for set number 3. We'll see you back here shortly.
OSIM.
And we're back getting ready for set number 3 here. But before we get underway, we're going to throw it over to the third man on the broadcast team. Noah Chast, take it away.
Yeah, over on the Stingers side, they felt like they had much better energy in that second set. They really took control. And I even heard the middle attack was getting going, and Russ Holmes was giving some kind of, elderly advice to Sean Dennis, telling them that they're not reading you very well and to keep swinging. And that's kind of what was echoed on the other side. The Tornadoes feeling like they're just not adjusting to the middles, and their coach saying they just need to be disciplined and stick to the game plan, and they can pull this one out.
I don't think that comes as any surprise then to hear, Matt, that the teams are both emphasizing the middle attack. We've seen it coming strong for both teams so far. So great to hear that the conversation is really how do we continue winning through the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with everybody's sentiments on running the middle, right? The passing has to be there. The service pressure has been turned down just a little bit from both sides, although the Stingers made their serves. However, the Tornadoes not able to run their middles as much in set number 2 as they did in set number 1. But for the Stingers, they've got to continue to do what they just did in set number 2 over into set number 3 if they want to continue kind of carrying the momentum and really showing that they are the better team here in this match.
Certainly the case, and we talked about, wanting to see the reception, the positive reception numbers increase. This is a percent number. I know for a lot of fans it may not mean a whole lot. For some it does. But basically the magic number you're wanting to see just for a consistent, reliable pass is probably right around that 70%. We were substantially below that in the first set. We're now with the Utah Stingers at 69% and the Dallas Tornadoes at 66%. So both teams more rapidly approaching that, which kind of makes sense when you look at the quality of swings we're getting as a result of the passing efforts.
Perfectly said, Nick.
Wow, the numbers are really quite mixed across the board in terms of productivity. Both sides fairly evenly matched. So this is kind of, I think we saw the Dallas Tornadoes get a little bit flat there during the second set, but still more than capable of coming back and battling with this Stingers squad. So we'll see what they're able to do here in the third. A set to outside, and Storm goes for a windmill that's dug by Schuldenberg. Quinones lays out in a one-handed swing attempt from Chapman to get that over, and unable to do so. That's a nice scored point for the Utah Stingers.
The rarely seen and used windmill spike that time from Storm.
Yep.
Got to Tafunga. Been watching some European volleyball players utilize that one, namely Irvin Ingepeth, the French Olympic champion that utilizes that windmill attack. Sometimes even with his back to the net,
yeah,
gets the point.
He's revolutionized quite a few game movements. You'll also commonly see him act like he's going to hit a back row attack on 2 and set a ball to the outside, getting no blockers up. Very creative mind and definitely someone who inspires a lot of players to try some new actions out. Valetato now with a float serve taken by Chapman. And the middle connection attempt goes, but even a missed connection is a great attempt there. Angel Rivera with a paintbrush over the top paints a point on the board for the Dallas Tornadoes.
I hear what you did there, Nick, and that was a nice touch. However, that was a better shot from Angel Rivera, just sneaking it over the blockers. The connection, not quite on point, but good enough to score for the Tornadoes.
Whew. Angel Rivera.
Be nice, Nick. Be nice.
I am being nice. That was one of the rarely seen, seldom useful under the net serves. That one got away from him.
Let's call it never useful when it goes under the net.
But looks the exact same on the scoreboard as the long serve there from Storm.
Storm just returns the favor, although his at least went over the net that time and out through the inline.
Quinones with a good float. Back row attack, blows Schuldenberg up. There's what we've been waiting to see from Storm. We haven't seen that one come through in a while.
Wow, Storm just absolutely hammering that one out of the back row.
Props to Schuldenberg for standing in, but just not able to stick that one.
That happened fast.
Dennis goes for a little off speed, but Schuldenberg waiting. Purim is the option, but Stingers go back to Storm, and misconnection there means a point for the Tornadoes.
Well, that was a golden opportunity for the Stingers to get a little more breathing room. Maybe one too many times to the well for Vellatado and Storm on that big attack. Throw it to the outside, let Romero get involved in the action as well offensively.
Chapman hammers the ball, gets an overpass. And that goes wide for Nick Sarowski on the right side. He's been utilized a lot less today than yesterday, but definitely a tool that the Tornadoes should look to activating right now to get some help on the right and spread the block of the Stingers out a little bit more. There it is, the repeat set, and there is the productivity the Tornadoes hope to see from their right side, Nick Sarowski.
Well, you got to take note as well. Quinones going right back to his hitter that made a hitting error on the previous play.
Yep.
Keeping that confidence in check and going right back to him as well that time for a point.
Interestingly enough, when I look at the reception numbers, Sam Schuldenberg, the libero for the Tornadoes, has received the most serves so far and is also passing at the highest clip. So I'd like to see the Stingers maybe make some adjustments on their serving targets, because right now I think they're making it even harder on themselves.
Well, that's a great insight there, Nick. I mean, yeah, usually when the player in the opposite colored jersey from the rest of his team is getting the majority of the serves, you might want to, look into that a little bit more and test out some of the other non-libero players that are also responsible for passing. Test out Guerrero, Swirsky a little bit more, see if Chapman, how his passing is. But attack the seams really is what the Stingers need to be doing on their service attempts towards the Tornado passers.
And there it is, get a little bit more productivity out of serving Chapman. A dig by Romero as it comes back, and now Storm swinging on the high ball, but dug by Schuldenberg. And there's Angel Rivera with an athletic step close on two, puts that one away. You'll love to see that huge dig by Schuldenberg rewarded immediately.
Angel Rivera showing off his athleticism on that one, going up and getting that one on two.
Sarowski with a top spin. And Holmes cuts it back, dug by Sarowski, and a bump set. Wow, big swing, but dug by Baugh. Recovered. Sarowski sets Chapman over the shoulder. Vellatado pulls the block, and no one even in the same zip code for that ball. Killed into zone one, and a nice point for Tornadoes rallying that out.
Call that a workman's point there, doing all the little things right. Working hard to score that point in transition.
Now with a 1-point lead, the Dallas Tornadoes, little bit of signs of life that we were missing in set number 2. Free ball comes back, taken by Rivera. And a set to the middle, tip. Mincy got cement in the shoes there. Doesn't see it early enough to make the defensive move. I think Mincy's getting a little aggravated. They just cannot seem to find the connection between him and Mike Vellatado right now.
Yeah, you said it, Nick. There's some frustration going on with the Stingers offense, the overhead offense in particular.
And there's the ace, Nick Sarowski, doing a lot of work here right after we talked about the importance of getting him back involved. He finds the way. Huge ace down the line. Going right back to the same spot, but Storm was ready for it this time. And Storm returns the favor. Schuldenberg gets a good move there, but unable to find the dig. Now Russ Holmes' turn to see if he can answer back for the Stingers. Now down by 2. Want to prevent a lead from extending any further. Sarowski's the option, but it's dug by Holmes. Chapman takes the overpass. And now Chapman takes the back row swing, but the net is too high. Sean Dennis there to put up a block, but the net helping him out. Nice dig by Holmes in transition there.
He's frustrated at that dig, actually. He wanted to keep it on his side of the net. He dug it, and it went back over. Ultimately, the Stingers winning the point, but the true professional not happy with his defense that time.
And he goes long and less than pleased with that. Just gives you an idea of the level of expectations that man has for himself.
Still thinking about that dig that went over the net.
Yeah.
Results in a service error there, so a little visit to the sports psychologist before he comes back out onto the court.
Guerrero with a big jump serve, perfect pass, D-ball opportunity, and there's the connection. We've seen ball after ball set over the net by Mencia, but Velotado refusing to give up on it and keep trying. Nicely done by Mincy.
Yeah, credit to the Stingers to continue to, work out and iron out that wrinkle, because they have to rely on Mencia overhead out of the back row and in the front row. So still trying to get that one dialed in.
Angel Rivera shut down by Sean Dennis. The height discrepancy there, 7 inches, and Sean Dennis using every bit of it for his own advantage.
Sean Dennis patrolling the net that time. Nice read and move to get his hands over the net fast enough for that quick stuff down.
Angel Rivera set to the outside. Chapman rolls over the top, disguised that beautifully, and the back row defensive side of the Stingers unable to see the roll shot coming.
That was a very well disguised roll shot from the Tornadoes.
Seeing Chapman swing against Sean Dennis is just two massive players going at it. Rivera in the net, but I suppose it's a bit of an improvement from the last serve that went under the net.
That one wasn't much. That was almost a repeat. Almost hit the bottom cable first, and really needs to figure out what he's doing with his service game back there.
Chapman stopped there. Sean Dennis having a heck of a blocking showcase right now. It's always fun to see a veteran like Mencia out there providing feedback in real time. Mencia, someone that's made the circuits for almost 2 decades playing professionally. Sean Dennis, significantly younger. Ball sets out to Romero, who gets a resetted wipe. Punched out from a one-handed set. Dennis hopes the play ends there, but it continues on, and Chapman determined to end the play there. 4-4 with a massive swing for the Tornadoes.
Chapman's just so physical. So much power in that arm swing. We're seeing a substitution here for the Tornadoes. Sean Smith coming in to replace Quinones. We'll see if it's just for the serve or maybe to take over the setting duties for a little bit, as Sean Smith set his team to victory just yesterday.
And it looks like Chapman took a bit of exception to Sean holding his hands up in the air, really impressed with his one-handed set, and he sent it back his way and flexed a little bit afterwards.
Well met and well earned. Tight pass. Velotado goes to Dennis, dug off the shoulder of Schuldenberg. Chapman's got a tight set, tips it over the top, but the discipline of Mency corrals it back in, and the Dallas Tornadoes unready for the cover ball there. One. Schuldenberg in system. Sorowski out of the court. That set location behind Sorowski's approach line, that one's on Smith in my eyes.
Offense struggling right now for the Tornadoes. Just the hitters have not been able to find court or get it past the Stinger block and defense.
The Langlois interview was kind of tough, too.
Dennis tries to cut that short, put a little something special on it, but unable to squeak that one over. Stinger's run is ended, and we're 12-13. I thought we might have had a tie game. I was 1 point off my head. Felix Chapman. He's been slowed down a little bit at the net, but now that it's all free reign on the back line, can he get it done? No, he cannot. This is an unfortunate part of the way the Dallas Tornadoes are playing. There's a lot of pressure on Chapman to get everything done himself right now, it feels like. So when he starts to slow down, so too does the team. See if Sorowski can get involved once again. Oporum block touch slow down. Romero tipped over the top, picked up by Guerrero as the off blocker. Chapman in the pipe, dug by Mincy. D-ball down the line, Schuldenberg not able to come up with that. And now that D-ball connection for the Stingers starting to prove its worth.
Well, yeah, it's proving its worth, but they're also getting the momentum on their side, which they didn't have in set number 1 when it was all Tornadoes. Meanwhile, the Stingers have been able to straighten it out, get the momentum on their side, and also a 3-point advantage here in set number 3.
Out of system, Sean Smith diving to make that happen. High free ball from Guerrero, letting everyone get reset. And a middle swing from Russ Holmes on its way out, but covered by Romero. And now Romero punishing Smith down the line. I think he only passed that ball because he wanted a chance to get the set on the outside, and that's going to take us into our technical timeout at 16-12. We'll be right back.
OSIM.
All right, and we're coming back out of that technical timeout. The Utah Stingers up by 4. I'm Nick England, joined by Matt Prosser, third man on our sideline, Noah Chast. Great to see everything well underway here in San Bernardino at the Pierce Sports Center. And an even better way to see it go is a huge swing by Nick Sorowski down the line. A critical point for the Dallas Tornadoes as they try to mount a comeback here as we start getting towards the sunset of set number 3.
Well, they absolutely needed that side out, and to get it from Swiderski could be a good sign for Dallas. Got to activate him through the front row when they have him there.
Nice pass, dump from Velitato. Smith saw it coming, but unable to make the defensive stop. Romero with a jump, and no, just long. And now it turns into a funny game of everyone talking about the challenge versus the not challenging. And sometimes you want the other team, you're trying to goad them into wasting one. It just becomes a funny game of, are you being truthful? You telling a lie, and no challenge called there. Sorowski now hammers his serve. Great pass by Romero. Questionable decision to set him. Now Smith swings on 2. Velitato lays out and Storm in transition, but dug by Schuldenberg. And now Guerrero tries to find one and goes long, gets his feet in front of that ball. Massive defensive efforts from both teams.
Well, Guerrero, we haven't said his name a lot offensively. He's out there in the 0-2 position, so he doesn't get a lot of typical attack attempts. That was a key moment there that he just missed out the sideline that time.
Very true, and we'll see. I expect Steve Roschitz to retain that spot once they have a couple more of their bodies and Roschitz able to play.
Yeah, Nick, as you mentioned earlier, Tornadoes coach mentioning that they were serving the libero way too much, and they really need to diversify who they're attacking in serve receive. and he also needs to get their aggression up. He says outside of Felix, their hitters are playing a little timid. And in terms of that setting switch, as that ball's hammered from the back row. My goodness. But in terms of that setting switch for the Tornadoes, they just want to get a new look in there, try and create something else. And he's preparing in case this set goes long to give his guys a bit of a breather.
Makes some sense. Good to hear that there's roster management and game management already in place. Velitato goes short, handcuffs Chapman a little bit there. And Chapman gets shut down one-on-one from Mr. Mencia. Mencia doing a great job. Sorry to cut you off there, but he's doing a great job getting himself back involved in the match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all Stingers right now. They have all the momentum. Some big swings out of the back row from Romero and a nice solo stuff down from Mencia. Tornadoes really struggling to figure out how to slow down the Stinger offense right now.
They really are in a 5-point lead. Something's got to change on the side of the Tornadoes. Like we said, I think that the serving pressure is really starting to break them down. They're getting some inconsistent sets, and now it feels like the Stingers are starting to corral Chapman a bit more, and it felt like an insurmountable task to be able to actually, keep him in check, and they're finally doing it.
Well, like we talked about and have been talking about pretty much the entire match, a bit of a slow start for the Stingers, maybe trying to see how the connections were going to work with Michael Velitato stepping in for the setter responsibilities today, and also what they were expecting to see offensively from the Tornadoes. Stingers have found their stride now. A 5-point advantage, first team to 20 here in set number 3. Looking to take the advantage in this match with a set 3 victory, but this serve doesn't help. Tornadoes able to side out after that good coach's timeout.
Yep.
Nice Velitato. I like this serving substitution here. Finally getting Rivera off the court after two service errors in a row.
Luis Vasquez, the serving option. Bounced on the tape, goes over, and Sean Dennis being utilized so well by Velitato right now.
This is the most offense we've seen from Sean Dennis over his career here in the NVA, the product of UC Irvine, a middle blocker there. He's 6'11". You got to get him the ball, and the connection that Velitato has with Sean Dennis has been very seamless today.
He's got at least 6 kills right now with no errors on 8 or 9 attempts. Opurum on almost a front slide approach to get him there. There's that kind of slower timing we talk about, but uses it to an effective point score for the Tornadoes, who are still down by 4.
I like how you described that approach, a front slide. A little bit of a one-footed takeoff, kind of takes a step towards the net and then runs towards the setter. That time it was effective.
Nice pass by Storm and Dennis once again, but the Sean Dennis show goes on. Another kill for the big man wearing number 14, proving to be a huge acquisition here for the Stingers.
Well, the Tornadoes really have no answer for him right now. They can't figure out how to stop him or even slow him down.
Guerrero takes the serve. Chapman gets a tight ball, wipes that off the hands of Romero, and Romero displeased with that.
So hard as a blocker to be patient and let that ball drop a little bit. You want to go up and grab it, but really what that does is expose you to be the person to get the ball swiped off the block by.
Yeah, it definitely does. Ball's gonna hit the ceiling, a little bit of chaos ensues, but Mincy finds a swing, sends it long. The Tornadoes bench encouraging their guys to find a little energy here, get a little excitement around their successes. They know that they're gonna need a little bit more momentum to overcome this 3-point deficit and send this into a 5-setter. Nice pass by Chandler. Big swing by Mincy, taking advantage of the size discrepancy between him and Guerrero, number 15. Hanging Scholdenberg out to dry there.
I like that swing for Mencia. A little bit of a no-look line swing. Definitely taking advantage of the blocker matchup. and using it in his favor that time.
That really speaks to the awareness of Velitato, knows where his mismatches are, does a great job there. Sean Smith throws that one back in, no call. And Sarowski throws it straight down. A little surprised by the no call on the Sean Smith, kind of threw that one to keep it alive, but the refs want the play to just continue without inhibiting it with a whistle blow.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with you. That was what I expected to be called a lift, but apparently I was wrong.
Let the kids play.
Russ Holmes there attacking deep into the corner. The Stingers middle. I gotta say, you know, last year we saw Alex Shmelyov. I saw him step into the YouTube chat earlier, a middle that's not here. He was a massive contributor in the middle for the Stinger roster last year. He was someone that he would get his kills, but what he excelled at was blocking and serving. And this is something we always talk about, is the Stingers didn't really have as much offensive production in the middle. And now with the addition of Sean Dennis and the return of Russ Holmes, it feels like this Stingers team has been absolutely lethal through the middle.
We get some clarification here after that attack
What'd
from
you see?
Sarowski. I saw it go into the antenna first.
Same.
But if you're in purple, you saw it go off the block. So the referees are having a quick conference over there to get some clarification, but perhaps either way we may see a challenge from the team that this goes against. But Stingers laugh it off. They actually aren't arguing it, so maybe it was a little clearer than we both thought, Nick.
Yeah, possible. Or there's also a good chance that with a 3-point lead on match point or set point right now, they didn't see any need to challenge that call, but I think you'd probably take that if you felt otherwise.
Playing the odds a little bit, and gambling here.
High ball out to Storm. And that's going to do it. Set number 3 comes to a quick end at 25-21 once again with Storm Paangata Tufunga swinging into the angle. We'll be right back shortly here for set number 4 with the Utah Stingers leading 2-1 over the Dallas Tornadoes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
OSIM.
And we're getting back to it courtside. That buzzer means it's time to get set number 4 underway. Utah Stingers lead 2-1 over the Dallas Tornadoes. I'm Nick England, joined by Matt Prosser and Noah Chast here at the Pierce Sports Center in San Bernardino, California. You're watching the NVA, National Volleyball Association, bringing you pro volleyball here in the U.S. at weekend number 1. Matt, we've had a lot of great matches so far. This one's proven to be a pretty good competition between these two teams. You think Stingers can close this out in 4?
I really am hoping that they can. I expected the Stingers to win in 4 during our pre-match discussion, pre-production. However, Tornadoes coming out, in a good start to the match, but the Stingers have answered, and it would be in their best interest to win this match in 4. But I do expect the Tornadoes to come out with a good response here to start set number 4.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement too, and they kept that pretty close, losing 25-21. But if they're able to get Chapman going once again here, feeling a little bit fresh, I'm optimistic that they can make something happen. A back one attempt goes wide. Angel Rivera misses the connection. Point for the Stingers.
Interesting choice right out of the gates, and an interesting rotation to start in for the Tornadoes with their setter in middle front position. That's area 5. Sorry, area 3, but 2 straight hitting errors from the Tornadoes. Not a good start.
Bellatata with a little bit of a bailout there, missing that one short, but still able to get 2 for the Stingers in a decent spot. Off the net connection, Dennis is dug, but a nice connection there from Bellatato. But an even better swing, Chapman back on form, finds a kill. Interesting to see both these teams looking for certain matchups there. We see that Anovo Romero and Storm Tafunga swapped in the outside hitter rotations. You mentioned, Matt, the Dallas Tornadoes kind of rotating their roster in an interesting spot. So curious to see how these adjustments both teams think they need to make are going to work out as the Dallas Tornadoes track this down. Angel Rivera puts the running shoes on, but a little too much weight room from the third contact over. Sends that one long.
A little back and forth, kind of what we expected here to start set number 4.
We're going to take a quick technical break here. In that rundown, one of our Mikasa, proud ball sponsor of the NVA, shout out to them. Their ball protection devices back there was taken down, and as a result hit one of our instant replay cameras to provide the challenge system. So we need to make sure that is set up and running. We'll do a quick check to make sure that we're all good and get right back underway.
Stingers say they did not change the lineup, that Storm has been OH1.
Well, that's a quick note from Noah doing his investigative reporting. I just overlooked. Storm's been in that OH1 slot the whole time. Just hadn't caught that. Not something I was used to seeing, especially when Jake Langlois was on the roster last year. He was always on the 1. Yeah, so I think that's a reflection that just they're not really using him when they're in rotation 1. I think that kind of speaks to maybe how much middle attack we're seeing there, just not really seeing the need to use him in rotation 1. Rotation 1 is when your outside hitter is on the right side of the court and your opposite is on the left, not in their normal hitting positions. So some teams will frequently get stuck there with players not being in their natural habitat and hitting position. But when you can run the middle all the same, Sean Dennis doing a tremendous job to help keep this offense from the Stingers moving fluidly.
Sean Dennis scoring 8 kills through the middle so far in this match, so expect to see more of that as this match goes on.
Sarowski with a massive swing off the block of Romero and Dennis gets a point for the Tornadoes. Oh, excuse me. Quinones to float. Romero's the only option, tries to tip over the top, thrown back by Sorowski. Mincy takes a look, and Quinones throws it into the corner. Mike Velitato with a kick dig, and Chandler sends it over, and Felix Chapman takes the explosive swing, but not able to do it. Mike Velitato showcasing a variety of sports athleticism there with the kick dig.
Yeah, wow, what a play.
Yeah, for anyone that's unsure, in volleyball, you are allowed to use any part of your body at any time. So a foot dig, more than welcome, but not usually that well controlled. So props to Velitato.
Yeah, we like to call that the foot volley, but unfortunately, Sean Dennis follows it up with a service error. So too much excitement for him that time, and we're tied at 4 points apiece here in set number 4.
Whoa, Chapman certainly didn't miss on that one. Nice set to the outside. Romero taking advantage of it. Kill down the line.
Romero really starting to find his stride as well as this match progresses. 10 points, that's his 11th point on offense.
Hard swing into the angle, but no hands there. Velitato going low and over, not giving an inch. Guerrero can't quite find that. And like you said, we've not talked too much about Guerrero and the offensive contributions of this Dallas team, but not starting now either. Mincy with an off-speed float hybrid there. Sorowski down the line, absolutely lighting up the blue jersey of Chandler Baugh.
Now Sorowski with a big swing from the right side. Chandler Baugh in the right spot, just too much heat for him to handle that time.
Back set to Russ Holmes. Not quite the connection they want, but finds the tip. There's the vision. Taking advantage of a lack of the libero on the court. Chike Oporum doesn't see it coming. And no off-blocker defense as Guerrero is helping with the middle block there. So taking full advantage of the situation is Russ Holmes. Deep swing. Romero less than pleased with that attempt, but still in a great spot considering they're up by 1 right now and got a 2-1 set lead count. Sorowski with the jump serve taken by Storm. And a quick set to the pin. Oh, Storm gets behind that one a little more than he wants, sends it long. Tied at 7s now.
Good back and forth action between these two teams. Tornadoes looking to force a 5th set. Stingers trying to win the match in 4. Stingers will be very pleased to get away with a 4-set victory here.
Another set to the outside, a little setback there, but Storm is quite successful on that attempt. Unable to be dug out in the back by the Dallas Tornadoes back row. Float serve from Holmes, taken by Chapman. Pipe attack here from Romero, wide. And Dallas Tornadoes try to rally a little bit of energy getting injected now into their side. Serve goes long.
This monitor is luckily keeping me blocked off from the splash zone. That's the plan.
Set on the outside. Oh my goodness, George Mencia taking care of Felix Chapman there.
Mencia with the biggest block of his day. What a move that time. Getting all of Chapman.
Set to the pipe this time, and that is stopped. Sarowski tries a pipe route from the back row. The block of the Stingers right now showcasing the expertise that they have. That's going to be a timeout call when the block feels this good like it does for the Stingers right now. Sometimes it feels like you can do no right. So a little conversation, a bit about the passing, a bit about the offensive selections, but also sometimes you got to manage the swings a little bit more than the Tornadoes are right now. It feels like they're not really giving themselves an opportunity to reset off the block and cover up their hitter.
Well, I like this timeout. Got to try to slow down the momentum of the Stinger side. A 3-point deficit for the Tornadoes. They have to figure it out now, or else they will be flying home with a 4-set defeat after this match comes to a close. Potentially, of course. Still a ways to go.
Velitato continues the serving run. Chapman tries a one route, look for something different, but that is read like a book by the Utah Stingers.
Yeah, and again, this is the rotation that the Tornadoes have gotten kind of stuck in with Quinones at middle front. No real back row options. Keeping Rivera on the right side. They go to Chapman again in the middle.
A back set there, over the top, one-handed punch dig, and Mencia swings, and Mencia kills. The Utah Stingers feel like they are just closing their foot on the throats of the Dallas Tornadoes as they try to find any way back into this match.
I just don't quite understand the offense system here, bringing Chapman in for a front one twice. That didn't work when you have Angel Rivera on the right side.
And Sean Dennis now, he got a touch off of Quinones, I thought. I thought he got him.
Well, you can't call challenges, Nick. So
no, I cannot.
The linesman called it out of bounds, and no argument coming from either side. So
it looked like from my angle, he just kind of cut it way too much, was maybe anticipating that block touch.
Angel Rivera missing another serve there. He has struggled. He opened up with a lot of pressure early on in this match, and it has fallen off. Chapman tipping over the top. Velitato picks it up, and Romero keeps it alive. Mencia step close, chops it, taken by Chapman. And now another big swing, but a fist thrown out, keeps it alive. Dennis, free ball over. Tornadoes get another attempt. Sarowski off the back row, off the head of Romero. Off the net, set to Dennis. Michael Velitato is an artist out there right now.
He really is, and he's painting a great picture of how to set the middle, especially when you have a middle attacker that's 6'11", and the other one, a former Olympian. Get that offense going. He's doing a great job.
They really have a variety of choices to utilize. Chapman sets out. Sarowski swings into the angle. Well done by him. A little miscommunication between him and Schuldenberg there, but well done to find a connection to Sarowski on the outside all the same.
A much needed side out that time for the Tornadoes. They're really struggling to find their offensive rhythm that they had in set number one.
Dennis, once again, little backspin on that ball, but man, when you're hitting high and deep from that high, there is no one up there in the same area.
A kill is a kill, a point is a point, no matter how you look at it. Doesn't have to be straight down. You got 30 feet, use the whole court, put the ball back to the corner, and it still gives your team another point.
Nicely done by Sarowski, a big swing from the outside. Sean Dennis making the move, but not coming up with the dig. There it is from Chapman, but a great pass, and now Russ Holmes. This is probably the most threatening middle offense we have seen all weekend from any team.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Nick. Bellottato continuing to just run the offense through the middles. I love to see it as a former middle blocker myself. And it's working perfectly right now for the Stingers, a 6-point advantage here in set number 4.
Mencia's service pressure now gets an ace. That's going to bring the Utah Stingers, I believe, to 3 total. A lot of pressure being generated for Mencia on the back line. 7-point lead. Is the curtain closing? Doesn't get the toss he wants, so he manages his swing a bit. Backside to Surowski. Surowski gets stopped by the double block of Romero and Holmes.
Right now, Stingers just can do no wrong, and the Tornadoes have no answer. You see a substitution coming in. Quiñones getting replaced by backup setter today, Sean Smith.
Mincy sends that one just long, but once again doing his job very effectively on the back line. And that's, if anything, just a sigh of relief from the Tornadoes that the onslaught has ended. Chike Oporum now see if he can get one of the defensive stops that we've seen several times throughout the weekend. Mincy reaches and Oporum left all alone. Wow, the transition and connection that we have seen from sets 1 and 2, where Bellottato and Mincy couldn't find each other if their lives depended on it. That put Mincy almost on the net, showing his athleticism there. And that's a great kill for the right side on the Stingers.
You said it, Nick. I mean, Mencia just comes flying out of the back row on that one. I haven't seen him fly that much, jump that far in the last 3 years of being involved with the NVA. So couldn't have come at a better time for the Stingers. Meanwhile, Tornadoes, nothing but question marks. Having a hard time getting anything put together right now offensively. Can't get the ball past the Stinger block. Can't slow down the Stinger offense. Tornadoes calling a timeout to talk about it, but they're down by 8, and the door might be closing. The curtain might be closing. Well, I don't know whatever metaphor you want to use, Nick, but
pick one.
It's
I
definitely
think they're
not
all
looking
pretty
good
true at this
for
point.
Tornadoes.
Set to the backside, and Surowski finds a touch, but it's dug by Romero. Bellottato gives Storm a chance. Storm gets the overpass. Russ Holmes blocked and deflected. Now Storm gets another opportunity. Tip and reset, self-covered. The pipe for Romero, no touch, one-on-one against Angel Rivera. That one goes long, and the Tornadoes earn another.
Nice work on the Stinger side that time. Romero just missing the inline out of the back row. Tornadoes needed that, so here's Saworski with his jump serve.
Oh, Storm put an exclamation on it. Easy swing into the angle. Great work by Russ Holmes in the middle to give him a one-on-one opportunity there. Dug by Romero, bumps it to the outside, and Storm is showcasing a variety of hitting ability there. Goes hard angle to hard line. Nice kill for number 8. Set to the outside, no luck finding the touch there. Man, the veterans on the side of the Stingers are just executing brilliant volleyball right now. Not much left for the Dallas Tornadoes to find a way back into this one.
A 10-point deficit basically is insurmountable, really, at this point of the match. Just a free ball this time from Vasquez.
Back set to Mency once again, dug by Chapman. And a roll shot, but dug by Holmes. They're in system. The pipe to Romero, and he gets redemption for the last missed swing. You'll love to see that connection, and Russ Holmes getting a little redemption for his missed dig earlier.
Well, it's match point now for the Stingers. Really playing nearly a perfect set here in set number 4.
Holmes goes after the serve. One option, that's Sorowski. And that's a back row attack. And that's gonna be all she wrote. That's gonna do it here. Utah Stingers taking the win in 4 sets with the hands of Mike Velatato, the brand new setter being brought in for the team, executing brilliantly. Well, a lot of positives we're seeing from the Dallas Tornadoes this weekend, but definitely some room for improvement. And as we said, they've got a lot of pieces that were unable to travel this weekend with all the traveling problems going on. So if you're Dallas Tornado fans, as we know they have so many back home supporting the Storm, don't worry too much. There's going to be plenty more time for this team to show us what they got at event number 2.
They definitely have the personnel that can put together a very dangerous team throughout this season. You know, just not at their best and not fully strength, you know, this weekend. So unfortunately for them, yeah, going home on a bit of a low note, but credit to the Stingers for playing nearly perfect volleyball there after losing set number 1. So interesting to see how they are able to continue that level of volleyball throughout the season.
And we've got a player of the game interview on the sideline. Throw it over to Noah Chast. Noah, take it away.
Yeah, it's Mike Velatato, the MVP of the match. He's here with me right now. Mike, you got those middles involved a ton, getting real creative with it, making Matt Prosser really happy. Why is it so important to get those middles involved?
Because they just open up the offense. Basically, if they do their job, it gives the wings more room to hit. And then you get one blocker being stuck in the middle, or 2 in Russell's case. They just like him. And then you just haven't done this in a while, so I really appreciate them. And it's really like a support system. You get that feedback, everybody feels comfortable, you build confidence, everything works out as you do.
You had 20 points through the middle. How does that feel as a setter?
That's amazing. Jesus, that's incredible, actually. I want to see the hitting percentage at that point. Dude, 20-20. My Lord. You know it's a lot, right?
That is a lot.
Usually the outsides or the opposite, you know, they get all the glory.
Hey, but you made it happen in the middle.
Perfect. Hey, you know, you can see the smiles. You see the smiles on it. That's beautiful.
Well, congrats. Great game, Mike. Yeah. 20 points in the middle thanks to this guy right here.
Well, great to hear that from the sideline. We always talk about the importance of the middle, and that was just an absolute showcase.
It was.
That's going to do it for us here. We'll be right back. Up next, we've got the OC Stunners against New Jersey Freedom at 3 o'clock. So stay tuned. Be right back. I'm Nick England. That's Matt Prosser. You just saw Noah Chast and the team. From all of us here, thanks. We'll see you right back.